Hey everyone, Tia Torres here with another Wild Instincts, which is a part of my Tia Talk podcast platform. So I think the last we met, we were at LAX airport on the tarmac, and all the animals are now loaded up in the plane. And let me explain this plane situation because it's pretty unique. We flew KLM Airlines, and KLM is very, that's what they do. They're known for transporting animals specifically, and their planes are set up in a special way, unlike a regular passenger plane. So, the other thing, they supply an animal flight attendant. Yeah, so the animals had their own flight attendant that traveled with us. It was so great because she handled all the paperwork. You know, she dealt with all of that kind of stuff. You know, all the just everything. So, the animals get loaded on the plane, and it's not in the traditional sense of where you put cargo under the plane. This plane was set up in a way that it was pretty much like half and half. So the front part of the plane was passengers. The back part of the plane was cargo. And there was a door, like a walk-through door that you could actually go through. And we were told that once we got in the air, that we could go back there and check on the animals. Which, of course, the one I was most concerned about was my pit bull Tatanka, because all the other animals seemed to do just fine in their transfer cages or their crate. But Tatanka was throwing a fit, like trying to break out of her crate. We had zip tied it, and put like this net around it and tied it up really tight because she was trying to bust out. So she was the one I wanted to check on first and foremost. Get on the plane, and very quickly I noticed the atmosphere in this particular plane or this particular flight was very, how shall I say it, festive. Okay. The passengers were really loud. Bunch of them were smoking. I'm like, wait, I thought you don't smoke on planes. And I'm like, what is going on here? And I see that the majority, if not all, of the passengers, with the exception of myself, Scott, and Chad, are all like Middle Eastern men. I'm like, was there like a convention or something? And they're in a mood. They are, like I said, drinking and smoking and woo. So all the flight attendants, because this is a Dutch airline, all the flight attendants looked as such. We're talking drop dead gorgeous, tall, thin, blonde, blue eyes, like beautiful, like supermodels. And as we're getting ready to take off, I'm still like nauseous. I'm still like airsick, even though we're not up in the air yet. And I don't know why I'm still nauseous, because I just, like I said, I've never had a bad experience with a plane. So I'm super queasy still. So I forgot which one. It was either Scott or Chad asked one of the flight attendants, like, hey, is this how it always is on this plane? Because these guys are pretty loud. This is pretty crazy. And they explained that although we are flying into Amsterdam for a quick layover, not a quick layover, excuse me, an overnight layover. From there, by the way, what I'm about to tell you, I learned right then and there. After leaving Amsterdam, they then fly into Dubai for a quick landing to load up more cargo, and then we will head to Sri Lanka. So all these men were on their way from America to Dubai. I'm like, okay. Now, mind you, back then, Dubai was not like it is today. It was a pretty scary place. And I'm like, wait, what? So we get up in the air. The partying continues, the screaming, the yelling. These guys were like slapping the flight attendants on the ass. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was pretty crazy. And so I'm ready to throw up. I just want to like lay down, but I don't want to deal with all the noise. And I go in the back to check on the animals, and Tatanka is just throwing a fit. So the way the crates were like stacked up and they were put like on these big pallets, Tatanka was near Romeo, who happens to be the male African lion. And his big transfer cage, and you have to understand, these big cages are built like a circus cage. They're big and strong, and there's like a big, like 2-inch piece of plywood on the top, screwed down. And so I got up on that, and I'm like, you know what, Tatanka, I'm going to lay up here with you, or lay up here, have my hand hanging down, and I'll put my fingers through the crate, and let her know that I'm right here, because we weren't allowed to take her out of the crate. Well, I don't know how long it was, because we were still in the air. I woke up, and I guess my head had kind of like rolled off or rolled over the side of the cage. And when I woke up, I kid you not, it was one of those moments like in a movie where it takes you a minute to kind of focus and your eyes open up. And I'm literally face to face, nose to nose with Romeo. Like his nose is pushed right up against the bars. And all I see are these big golden eyes. I'm like, oh, and he's like, what are you doing? Drool coming out of my mouth. And I'm like, oh my God. So I go back in the plane, and at this point, Chad had taken up residency in the flight attendant area, standing there. And I guess apparently these other passengers were getting way out of hand. And so he stood in the flight attendant's area to kind of shield them away from these men. And I'm like, are we there yet? Like, oh my God. I went back to my seat, and I'm still queasy. I'm still not feeling good. So I took a couple of Excedrin PM. Now, mind you, I always kept Excedrin PM on hand because I got migraines really bad, and I couldn't take traditional migraine medication. So I would take half of one to take the edge off the migraine, because there was that Excedrin PM stuff. I don't even know how it's legal to buy over the counter. It's so strong. But I was getting really anxious being on this plane. I don't know why. I was like, oh my God, are we going to crash? I mean, I was just freaking out. So I decided, screw it. The bottle says take 2. I'm going to take 2 pills. And I did. Well, the good news is I did pass out hardcore. And the only reason I woke up is because we were landing. I could hear the pilot, over the speakers telling everybody to, buckle up. And I kind of wake up, and the first thing I notice is in my face is, how can I describe this? A puppet, a hand puppet made out of a paper bag. The puke bags they give you? Yeah, a puke bag with a little face drawn on it. And all I see is, hi, I'm Mr. Barfbag. How are you, Tia? Yeah. Chad, who is the monkey handler, and he's got a personality like a monkey, thought it would be funny to make a puppet and tease me about being airsick and have this thing right in my face as I woke up. So I'm just like, get the fuck away from me, dude. And I'm swat his hand. And I look down, and there's popcorn, all stuck in my hair, in my lap. Yeah, apparently Scott and Chad had been tossing popcorn across the aisle at me, trying to wake me up. Just because. I'm like, okay, it's going to be one of these kind of trips, huh? So I don't look out the window. There's just no way. I can't do it. But the reason we were landing in Amsterdam is because obviously it's too long of a flight to go straight through to Sri Lanka. But at the Amsterdam airport, they have at the time, I think it was one of a kind, but now I think New York has one. It's called the Animal Hotel. That's what they call it. And it's at, oh my, choking on a raisin here. It's a place where animals who have been shipped from all over the world, they come there. They're on like a little, like 1 day layover. And this section of the airport is designed like the most luxurious animal hotel you have ever been in. They have like a stable area for the horses. I mean, it was beautiful. They have attendants on hand to help take care of the animals. So we had to unload all of the animals still in their cages into the animal hotel, where they would be spending the night and then getting back on a plane in the morning. Now, of course, the tigers and whatnot had to stay in their big cages because taking one out and having it, freak out on you, it's not like a dog where you just shove it back in a cage. But the wolf dogs and Tatanka, we did get to take out, stretch their legs, and then, put them back in the crate for the night. So this was to be our layover. And man, just for one night. What could possibly go wrong, right? Yeah. You'll have to stay tuned to the next episode because this is where the fun begins. All right. I know there's some catchphrase that I'm supposed to say at the end of the episode, but it slips my mind right now. All right, y'all. I'll catch you on the next one.